And a good Friday afternoon to everybody joining us on this exclusive KREM 2 Plus live stream. I'm Meteorologist Thomas Patrick. Thank you very much for joining us. Recording this just after the news at noon. Whole lot of new information just dropped in terms of heat alerts, advisories, and warnings. And I did just tweak my forecast within the past hour. So with that being said, we've gone with weather impact alert days and a variety of new alerts also issued by the National Weather Service for the upcoming heat wave. So let's dive right into it because it starts this weekend and lasts through at least the first half of next week. The alerts being the warnings and the advisories respectively. The time frame, Saturday to Wednesday. So that's August 23rd to August 27th. 5 days in a row of this kind of heat is a bit longer than what we've dealt with so far this summer season. And that's what's going to make this heat wave different than those others, but still probably just as hot as some of our hottest days so far this year. Let's start with the heat advisories. This is for Coeur d'Alene, Spokane, all of eastern Washington and northeastern Washington, all the mountains from Ferry County and Republic through areas like Newport. The high temperatures for those 5 days likely between 92 and 98 degrees. Pretty hot, right? Mid-90s most of those days, especially from Spokane's perspective, which should be right in the middle of that range. As we look off to the south towards the Palouse, Pullman is also under the heat advisory. Same story temperature-wise, 92 to 98. You're probably going to be closer to the 92 to 94 degree range. However, the extreme heat warnings, the magenta shaded areas, that for Lewiston, the foothills of the Blue Mountains, and then out towards central Washington, you're going to see these numbers 96 to 102 degrees. Same story for central Washington. That actually includes Ritzville, Grand Coulee, Moses Lake, and all the way up into Okanogan County. So Omak, Chelan, and Wenatchee also included in the extreme heat warnings. Again, 96 to 102 degrees, but not just for a single day, 5 days in a row. So by the end of this heat wave, it is going to feel very exhausting, especially for that Tuesday and Wednesday, where we're going to be among some of our hottest days. So the warnings and advisories go for 5 days. But here at the KREM 2 Weather Center, kind of determined that I wanted to pick out the hottest 2 days among those. And that is going to be Monday and Tuesday. So those are the 2 days that for now we go with weather impact alert days. If the forecast goes any higher, we may have to add more days to it. But it's such a fine margin anyways that you should be prepared for hot weather both this weekend, for this Monday and Tuesday, and Wednesday as well. For Spokane, the temperatures will be around 95 to up to 100 degrees, though I think hundreds are more likely for central Washington. And what you need to know, of course, is the usual for hot weather. Stay hydrated, have a way to stay cool, look after your other family members as well as your pets to make sure that everybody is going to stay cool and safe during this another hot stretch of weather. Should be used to it by now, but it doesn't really diminish the fact that 95 degrees is still hot for the region. I want to just have a refresher over the alert system from the National Weather Service. Actually had a viewer that was a little bit confused between watches and warnings and advisories, and I get it. It comes up a lot, not just with the heat alerts, but actually any type of weather hazard. So a quick refresher here. When we have watches, that means the hazard is incoming or upcoming. It's usually a couple days out, and we had the extreme heat watch that was first issued. But now that turns over into warnings and advisories. So that's happening or imminent in this case. And the difference is it a severe criteria or is it a mild criteria? Again, Spokane's under the heat advisory, the more mild criteria. So it's hot, but not at extreme or excessive levels. But for central Washington, it's extreme heat warnings, the more severe criteria, and 100 and above, that is seriously hot. So that's the difference there. Always starts as a watch, but gets broken down into warnings and advisories. Let's start with the weekend. Saturday and Sunday, 93 to 94 degrees in Spokane. That's about 12 degrees above average, not quite record high. So again, that fits in that mild criteria in terms of heat hazards. It's hot, but we've dealt with this before, haven't we? So just make sure that you're hydrated and you got plenty of water if you are going to go outside and enjoy any of the great activities that are happening for the Inland Northwest. I'm not going to stop you because I want you to enjoy another summer weekend. Just do it safely and smartly, of course. The record highs still get to around 100 degrees even this time of year, so we're going to definitely fall shy of that. Now we get into Monday, and this is where I'm going to level with you. I'm going to show you a bit of my process when it comes to forecasting, especially the summer, and especially why this has been such a tough forecast day after day. So what you're seeing behind me right now is the unedited raw computer model data. And this is just one computer model, but this is what we would call our in-house model. It's called the graph. These are the high temperatures on Monday. I actually had to remove Spokane because that's the one data point that I do manually adjust, and I wanted to show you what it looks like unadjusted. So Airway Heights was the next closest, 98. Coeur d'Alene, 98. Even some areas like Colville, 100. Moses Lake, 100, that looks fair. And so does Lewiston. So not everything really matches up with what I wanted to forecast. And let me tell you this thing. Have you been looking at your phone and the weather app that's default on it? I'm usually not a stickler if you do it. I'm not going to rat anybody out for doing it. But realize that your phone's app basically does this. It takes the raw model data and plots it directly on the phone. This whole summer, it's been about 2 to 3 degrees too warm. In some cases, as much as 6 degrees too warm. And that's starting to feel like a stretch, but it's been consistently too warm. So when I see the model spit out numbers like this, 98 to 100 for, Spokane, for example, or Colville, it's just a little too hot. So that's why I do manually dial back some of these temperatures and get it more into what I think is going to be a more accurate range. Yeah, it might feel academic to just split nails over 1 or 2 degrees, but it can make a big difference in terms of how you prepare or how you act when you see the weather going to be that hot. But like you're going to see, 95, 96 should be about the forecast for Spokane. 98 would be the high-end potential, though we've never hit those high-end maximum temperatures so far this summer. And that's forecasting every single day here at KREM 2. Big picture here, heat dome over the southwestern U.S. just kind of meanders and wiggles around that region, but the whole air mass controls the whole of the west coast. And it actually impacts our area the most because there's actually monsoon moisture that's going to give a little extra cloud cover even to areas like Arizona. So they're not really all that extreme in terms of heat, even though it's a lot hotter than us here. But we just get the heat for the inland northwest. So that's why our temperatures just soar into those mid-90s most likely, and close to about 100 degrees for areas like central Washington. Also in the jet stream, it looks a little weird. You just see kind of one tail end. The jet stream is so tall, if you look closely, it actually starts over here. It goes through northern Alaska and northern western Canada before finally diving down back into the U.S. for the Great Lakes Midwest and the Dakotas. So there's such a huge and stark contrast between the above average temperatures of the West Coast and what's going to be kind of that first fall cold front for areas out east. And the bigger this amplitude, the more extreme that temperature difference is. And that's why it affects us as much as it likely is going to. Can you see the difference on this kind of map? This is the temperature outlook for the next 6 to 10 days. There's that fall cold front to the east, but we're not focused in on that. We're focused in on the other end of the scale, which keeps us so warm. And this lasts for more than these 5 days that we have the heat advisory, or more than the 2 days that I have as weather impact alert days. This could go through 10 days in the forecast. That brings us to Labor Day itself, September 1st. And I think our temperatures are going to be well above average. Now, maybe by various degrees. Some days pretty hot by like 15 degrees above average, others a little bit more modest. We'll see for the following weekend, but we do know that this weekend, and the first few days of this week, are going to be quite hot for the region. In some cases, extremely so. And you saw earlier that Moses Lake, Omak, Lewiston are likely going to push 100 degrees during this 5-day stretch. For Spokane, I go 93 to 96. Again, picking out the 2 hottest days as Monday and Tuesday as alert days. But remember, the heat advisory actually goes from Saturday to Wednesday. So all in all, pretty much a 5-day stretch of pretty hot weather, and then we'll see how much longer that will carry, at least in the 90s, even beyond that. So it is a hot forecast overall. So if you're going outdoors this weekend to enjoy a hot summer weekend, just do it smartly and safely. Drink plenty of water because we are under heat advisories beginning on Saturday. Extreme heat warnings for central Washington, where temperatures will be a bit closer to the 100-degree mark. Remember, these alerts go all the way through Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick. Thanks for joining us on KREM 2 Plus today. Have a fantastic Friday and weekend ahead of you. Remember to just stay cool and stay hydrated. I'll see you on Up with KREM next week. Have a great day, everyone.